Episode X, Family Opposition. Part 1, Smith Family Opposition. Jesse Smith, Joseph Smith Jr.'s paternal uncle, stood as a vocal critic of his nephew's religious claims and supposed divine visions. His skepticism is vividly documented in a series of letters from the late 1820s, where he expressed deep frustration and disbelief at what he viewed as deception and exploitation orchestrated by Joseph. Here are some pivotal examples. On June 17, 1829, Jesse wrote a scathing letter to his nephew, Hiram Smith, brimming with anger and disbelief regarding Joseph's claims. In this correspondence, he accused Joseph of engaging in deceitful practices, referencing making lid books and implying that Hiram was shielded by your ignorance. Jesse's response starkly illustrates his conviction that his nephew's activities were rooted in trickery rather than genuine divine revelation. Jesse's admonition to Hiram was pointed: "You have forsaken the religion and the principles which our parents took such care to instill into our minds." In a broader context, Jesse Smith is recorded as having viewed Joseph's activities with profound suspicion, dismissing the Book of Mormon as a fraudulent creation. He warned family members against associating with Joseph's ventures and emerged as one of the earliest vocal critics within the extended Smith family. While the specifics of every letter from Jesse may not always be documented, family accounts from that era depict him as a steadfast opponent who consistently regarded Joseph's prophetic claims as unfounded. He not only refrained from joining the church, but actively sought to dissuade others within the family and community from doing so. Jesse Smith's stance reflects a significant early skepticism from within Joseph's extended family, highlighting the diverse reactions to the burgeoning religious movement. His criticisms reveal a familial rift over Joseph's claims, casting doubt on the supposed universal acceptance of his prophetic mission. So how do we know about these accounts? Thanks to Dan Vogel's Early Mormon Documents, Volume 1. This compilation offers a glaring insight into Jesse Smith's perspective, revealing yet another family member who clearly did not buy into Joseph's claims. Vogel writes that before translation efforts resumed in earnest in April 1829, Jesse's letter to Hiram mentions Asael Smith's reception of Hiram's earlier letter. It outlines the aged patriarch's response and a subsequent letter wherein Hiram notes Jesse's conviction that Joseph Sr.'s family was carrying on a work of deception. This statement implies that while Asael Smith may have supported his family on a personal level, he likely remained unconvinced by Joseph Smith Jr.'s claims or the religious narrative surrounding the Book of Mormon. The fact that Asael received Hiram's letter without fully endorsing the faith is significant, especially in light of Jesse Smith's strong skepticism. Does this suggest that Asael harbored reservations about the authenticity of Joseph's religious claims, particularly given Jesse's warning about a work of deception? Family lore often paints Asael as supportive, yet his response appears more ambivalent, if not skeptical. His willingness to entertain Hiram's letter doesn't necessarily indicate belief in the Book of Mormon's divine origins. After all, if a close family member like Jesse found substantial reason to doubt, it's telling that Asael didn't openly defend Joseph's claims. This perspective aligns with the idea that Asael valued rationality and prudence, making him cautious about fully embracing the unprecedented religious assertions being made by his grandson. The assertion that Asael supported Joseph stems mainly from accounts by Lucy Mack Smith and George A. Smith. George A. Smith, Asael's grandson, claims that Asael read most of the Book of Mormon and found it compelling enough to believe in its message. However, this account lacks direct corroboration from Asael or contemporary records from his lifetime. George A. Smith's remarks seem to reflect more of a family narrative constructed after Asael's death than a documented endorsement from Asael himself. Since Asael passed away in 1830, shortly after the Book of Mormon was published, it's uncertain whether he had access to a complete copy or could have read enough to form a firm belief. Historians like Dan Vogel suggest that George A. Smith's assertion may stem from family lore rather than Asael's documented beliefs, especially given the lack of contemporary support and Jesse Smith's expressed skepticism. Let's also address a glaring inconsistency regarding George A. Smith's account. John Smith and his wife did not join the church until 1832, several years after both Joseph Sr. and Jr. reached out to family about the Book of Mormon, facing rejections from Jesse, at least in the historical record. Why did it take 3 years for John and Clarissa to join the church? One explanation posits that John and Clarissa were living in St. Lawrence County, New York, quite far from where Joseph was organizing the church in Palmyra, Fayette, and Colesville. Reliable communication was slower and more challenging during that era, likely affecting how quickly they could learn about the church's developments. However, this explanation falters since Jesse and Assael Smith received letters from Joseph in 1828-29. Another possibility is that the Smith family, like many, had members with varied beliefs about Joseph's religious experiences. Some, like Jesse Smith, openly criticized Joseph's claims. This division might have contributed to John's initial hesitation to join, as he would have been aware of both supportive and skeptical views within the family. While this seems plausible, we confront a serious issue. George A. Smith asserts, "My grandfather Assael fully believed the Book of Mormon, which he read nearly through." If Assael expressed such conviction, why did his own children delay joining the church? Moreover, according to Lucy Mack Smith in her biographical sketches of Joseph Smith, Assael once remarked that he believed a descendant would revolutionize religious thought. He reportedly stated, "It has been borne in upon my soul that one of my descendants will promulgate a work to revolutionize the religious world." This statement implies Assael foresaw a significant religious impact from his family, potentially foreshadowing Joseph's supposed prophetic calling. Again, this raises the question, if Assael made such prophetic statements, why didn't more family members join the church sooner, especially John Smith? Why didn't those who did join fully back the assertions of George A. Smith and Lucy Mack Smith? The apparent disconnect between Assael's alleged foresight and the subsequent hesitance of his family members to embrace Joseph's claims underscores a significant tension within the Smith family regarding their beliefs and the emerging Church of Christ. Part 2. The Hale Opposition. Reuben Hale, a brother of Emma Smith, stands out as a notable figure for his vocal skepticism toward Joseph Smith Jr. and the rapidly developing Church of Christ. His criticisms were more pronounced than those of many other family members, placing him firmly in opposition to the nascent religious movement. Reuben did not merely question Joseph's role as a prophet. He fundamentally challenged the legitimacy of the revelations Joseph claimed to receive. Unlike some relatives who rallied around Joseph's mission, Reuben's persistent doubts underscored a significant divide within the Smith family regarding the direction and integrity of the church. His skepticism extended beyond Joseph's prophetic claims. Reuben expressed profound concerns about the emerging religious movement itself. He questioned the very foundation of the church, fearing that Joseph's charismatic leadership could lead to deception and exploitation. This apprehension highlights Reuben's acute awareness of the potential dangers associated with blind faith in a burgeoning religious framework. In an environment where many family members supported Joseph, Reuben's dissenting voice reflected a broader tension that marked the early days of the church. His criticisms were not mere expressions of familial disagreement. They served as a cautionary tale about the risks of unexamined belief and the complexities of faith within a deeply divided family. Reuben Hale's opposition thus illuminates the intricate dynamics at play during the formative years of the Latter-day Saint movement, revealing a landscape of doubt, fear, and profound familial conflict that would shape the early church's trajectory. Emma's cousins expressed significant doubts about Joseph's credibility, largely due to his notorious involvement in treasure digging and his self-proclaimed seer abilities. These relatives viewed Joseph's past endeavors not just as a quirky hobby, but as indicative of a more troubling character flaw, namely, a propensity for deception and exploitation. This skepticism was not merely a matter of personal opinion. It reflected broader social anxieties about the rise of new religious movements in a rapidly changing America. Family lore suggests that Emma's cousins were quite vocal in their concerns about her relationship with Joseph. They warned her about the potential dangers of aligning herself with someone whose past was riddled with questionable practices and dubious financial dealings. Such warnings were rooted in a protective instinct, as they feared that Emma's involvement with Joseph could lead her into a precarious situation, both socially and financially. These concerns were often expressed in private conversations and family gatherings, where whispers of Joseph's past circulated among Emma's relatives. Part 3. The Mack Opposition. Stephen Mack, Lucy Mack Smith's brother, was known as an affluent businessman in Detroit, Michigan. Although he died before the church was officially founded, records indicate that Stephen, unlike many in the Mack family, expressed skepticism about the supernatural claims surrounding his nephew. While there's no direct letter or record detailing his beliefs, his lack of involvement in supporting the Smith family in their religious efforts, despite his substantial means, suggests a certain level of detachment or disagreement with Joseph's mission. Additionally, as an established entrepreneur, Stephen's practical and secular mindset likely clashed with the church's teachings and Joseph's prophetic claims. Some historians, such as Marvin S. Hill, Donna Hill, and Richard Bushman, suggest that Stephen Mack's lack of endorsement might have impacted Lucy's later desire to validate her family's legacy by supporting her son's religious claims. It's crucial to emphasize that Stephen Mack was the one who swindled Joseph Smith Sr. in the ginseng venture discussed in Episode 1, Meet the Smiths. This significant detail emerged during my research, highlighting the financial and personal conflicts that plagued the Smith family. According to Richard Bushman, Lavisa Mack, Lucy Mack Smith's sister, was rumored to have similarly expressed a sense of detachment from her nephew's religious pursuits. While she wasn't outspoken in opposition, family correspondence hints that she may have harbored doubts, especially about the supernatural aspects of Joseph's mission. She reportedly discouraged her own children from getting involved, preferring that they focus on established Protestant practices over what she perceived as a speculative religious movement. In conclusion, early opposition to Joseph Smith Jr.'s claims from within his own family reveals a complex web of skepticism and conflict. Figures like Jesse Smith and Reuben Hale, along with Emma's cousins and Stephen Mack, voiced significant doubts about Joseph's integrity and the legitimacy of his revelations. Their criticisms underscore the social anxieties surrounding new religious movements and highlight that Joseph's claims did not resonate with everyone. This internal dissent played a pivotal role in shaping the narrative of the Latter-day Saint movement. Thank you so kindly for watching. This is the Ex-Mormon Informant signing off for today.